Welcome to Channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. G'day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about my grade 2 Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell on the side, so once we have all the updates and news, you'll be the first one of getting all the insight. Now in today's video, I would like to go through numbers of the information disclosed by the Freedom of Information Act, the so-called FOI. Now if you're not familiar with that, it's okay. FOI is a law permitted in most of the democratic country, whereby the public information, the public can actually access to the government information through the FOI Act, the Freedom of Information. Now, obviously, over the past month and years, there has been a lot of public access through FOI Act in regard to getting all the statistics that has been shown or perhaps have been produced from the Department of Immigration by knowing how the department is actually progressed through numbers of different visa categories. So I've picked numbers of a recent FOI disclosure, and today we would like to go through them. Now, obviously, these are the numbers that have been it's recorded within the Department of Immigration, Department of Home Affairs. That also provides an indication of the future trend as well. So at the end of this video, I also provide a summary of how I feel about reading through this information. Okay, now the first one, let's have a look. It's quite tiny. Don't like it, but obviously this is a disclosure from the government itself through FOI, so there's no actual format required, so the wording is quite small, but I'll read them out. If you would like to go through those details, you might require to magnify the video a little bit more, but let me see if I can do that a little bit more. So this is actually came out when, so this is talking about numbers of skill independent visa, which is the most highly sought information, and also on YouTube as well for subclass 189 between the date lodged between the date of 1st July 2022 until 31st of August 2022, which is fairly recent. Today is only, well, we're about to hit November, but this is the fairly recent information, and this also provide us indication and trend of the future as well. So how many been lodged, how many been granted, and what's left there. So let's have a look. You can see that there. There's not much that I can I scroll? I can't really scroll them, but let me move that a little bit up, right up there. Okay, I'm sorry about the unhand, but I'll read them out, but you can still see that there. Okay, so there has been 189 visa. There has been lodged how many? From 30 of July until 31st of August. So 1 month, there has been an increase from 237 lodged of 189 visa to 2,828. Now, why is that? Because obviously we have seen that the subclass 189 reign. Remember before a couple weeks ago, yeah, I've done a video on that one. Suddenly a lot of people, there's about 24,000 people has actually received invitation from 189 visa. So suddenly people are throwing in applications in. And for 190 nominated, that's for the state and territory nomination, 935 to 803. I'm not too sure why is it dropping between that month there, but anyhow, it should increase since then until recently, October, September, October. Okay, 489, it's very rare that you still can lodge 489. That's obsolete anymore, so most of people will go on to 491. As you can see, 1800. So you can see that large number. So again, a lot of people ask me, well, should I just pick the invitation for 491 visa or wait for 190? Well, look at that, you should really pick 491 because they are throwing more numbers of 491 invitation out there. So how many been granted? Let's have a look. It's fair, 295 being granted in July, and 364 granted in August, that month there. And so 190 more grants. That doesn't indicate much information there, but I think for the lodged, it provides more information about how trendy the skill visa is actually be there. On hand, that's another thing. At the bottom of your screen there, you can see that's where the backlog is. So 189 visa, there's apparently 12,000, and in August 15,000 on hand. That means they haven't really finalized the application. 190, a lot more, about 20,000 on hand. 489 and 490, about altogether about 30,000 on hand, and 887 about 20,000 on hand as well. And that's where the backlog is, and that is why it's vital that the October budget is actually very important, because that actually been, the money has been thrown into the department. So I believe this will be actually be sorted out very, very soon. So okay, now next one, let's have a look. What is this one? Okay, this is about numbers of employment nomination scheme subclass 186 direct entry nomination between the month of 1st of January 2022 until 31st of August 2022. So obviously cover the first 8 months of 2022 on the occupation of computer and network engineer only. Now, well, obviously I wanted the whole number, but there's only, I don't know why, there's only this FOI in the information there. So again, it's very, very rare. There's only 129 approved, on hand, 190 on hand granted. I think the reason somebody must extract this because these are highly sorted engineers and profession, but there's really limited number of application because as I have mentioned in my many videos, the employment sponsor scheme currently is just too complex to actually go through, and you want those companies to actually go through them. Yes, they may, but the procedure is just too massive. Anyway, that shows there's only limited number of people doing employment sponsor currently. So that's where the trend that I can predict. The change of the policy and regulation for employment sponsor is coming up, because you can see from the October budget they want 35,000 places, but look at that we just have seen. There's only a couple hundred. That's you gotta think about this. This is a month. There's only 129 approved over a month. How do you get to 35,000? Think about that. Okay, now next one. Now, what is this one? The word is getting smaller and tinier. I can't really even read them. I don't know. It's just very bad formatting. Okay. Now, okay, this is business and the investment visa, especially for Vietnam. As you know, Vietnam has been a very fast developing country due to the tech war going on between US and China. A lot of the factory and tech is moving stream to Vietnam, or manufacturing powerhouse, should I say. Okay, so people coming from Vietnam invest into Australia. As you can see from the granted number from 2019, there's 237 for business innovation, investor 199, significant investor only 18 in 2020, about the same, and 2021 dropped the number, but more significant investor 52 over there. So apparently the number is not really that great, I think. But I think apparently they will increase more and more in the future. Okay, people may ask, what about other countries. Well, there's just haven't been anyone trying to get FOI information for other countries. So unfortunately, there's none recently. Okay, next one is the 462 visa, work and holiday visa. Now, work and holiday 462 is different than subclass 417 working holiday visa. 462, you are required to get your originated country to approve, so then you can actually apply for work and holiday visa and come to Australia to work. Now, subclass 417 working holiday, on the other hand, you're not required to get your country, your original country, to approve. You can just apply and get granted straight away, just like the travel facility that you want to travel some places just as a tourist. Now apparently there's Argentina, Austria, Chile, China, Hungary, Indonesia, Israel, Luxembourg, Malaysia. I'm not too sure where is this one, not specified. Interesting. Is there a country that's not specified and still can apply for subclass 462? And there are 19 of these applicants. I wonder where they're coming from. Probably Moon or Mars or somewhere. Interesting stuff. Peru, Poland, Portugal, Singapore, United States, Turkey, Thailand, Spain, Slovenia, Uruguay, Vietnam, Ecuador, Switzerland. So as you can see, the numbers, the only thing that interests me is the number coming from China is really 148. That's a very least amount of number compared to previous. Obviously, it's due to all the lockdown thing going on, and this is for 2020 and 2022 and 23. And that's very minimal. USA 397, interesting. Indonesia 246. That is still very least, and in total there's only 2,645. Okay, so that's not a great number. That doesn't really help. Doesn't really help the industry. Probably that's where they start the Pacific Island scheme. Anyway, next one, let's have a look. Global talent coming from Hong Kong. I've been receiving a lot of inquiry from Hong Kong. Now the problem here, as you've been noticed, is that the number of global talent has been coming from Hong Kong has been in 2021 and 22. I think that amount 1,117 is a lot. Now, would that be a problem? Yes, because that will actually diminish the number and the quota given to Hong Kong citizens in the future. And I actually experienced that in 2022 and 23, that the endorsement and the nomination and the EOI invite has dramatically dropped the speed and the ratio there. So anyway, for your information, and plus recently GTA has been dropped to 5,000 places for 2022 and 23. That means there's a limited number until July next year, 2023. So anyway, for the game of migration, it's always doing earlier the better. Okay, the latter is not as good as earlier. I cannot say worse, but not as good as the previous. Now, last but not least, it's what's this one? Employment scheme again. 186 direct entry application for electrical engineer, and the date is from January until September. Again, very minimal amount, and that also shows the employment sponsor scheme is that not actually working properly there. I'm not too sure about 486, but as we have saw the budget, they have indicated about 35,000 for the employment sponsor people to actually get to permanent residency. But if you look at that number, it's only 100 something for a particular occupation, and there's probably about let's say 200 occupation, and each of them get 100, which is unlikely. You get about 20,000. How do we get to 35? Question mark. So probably until the end of the financial year, that will say about April or after Easter, April, May, June. If the quota has not been used, they will reallocated back to other subclasses, for example, like global talent, because and the business and investment visa, because they had been cut during October budget, so they probably will be allocated back to them, because if you can see the numbers that we just saw there. So let's summarize it. Now obviously the October budget is welcome. It's not a bad one, because they just allocate a lot of quotas and numbers to the skill sector, and should in the next 3 months, I believe, I don't think it will take longer than that, will resolve a lot of backlog and delay. Obviously until I think around Easter time 2023, all the visa procedures will actually get back to normal speed process. By means, normal is like when it was like 2016 and 17. Anyway, should you have more question, query, more than welcome to leave comment right down below, and I'll see you next video. Goodbye.